Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you how to use the spoken content accessibility features on your Mac. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, get exclusive content and course discounts. Now there are a variety of features on your Mac that will read things out loud to you rather than having you read the text on your screen. Chances are just about any user can find some of these useful. To find spoken content features, go to System Preferences and then Accessibility and then look for Spoken Content. There are four main types of spoken content accessibility features. But before we get into those, let's look at the different voices you can use. Since things are going to be spoken out loud, you get to choose the voices. And you'll have a variety here. Some of these are old voices that have been around on your Mac for a long time. But recently Apple's added the Siri voices and they'll show up here as well. The ones you get depend on your country settings. So I'm going to use Siri Voice 4, which is the most recognizable American voice. You can preview the voice by pressing the play button.
Hello, I'm Siri.
You can set the speaking rate. So if you want it to be faster, you can go faster.
Hello, I'm Siri.
Or much slower.
Hello.
You can also set the relative volume. So you can have it go to the maximum volume set by your system, or you can have it speak at a lower volume if you'd rather have things like music be relatively louder. Now let's look at the four different options here. One thing you could do is simply have announcements spoken out loud. Let's look at the options here. You can choose a voice. So you can have a different voice reading announcements than doing other things. This can make it easier to pick out the announcements from other things being spoken at the time. You get to choose a phrase that's spoken when the announcement is made. So you can use the application name first, for instance. Let's preview that.
Alert from Finder.
You can also use a phrase from this list down here. So you can see there are four things there by default. And you can have it go through them one by one or pick one at random. You can also edit this phrase list. So you can use these here, but you can add your own. So you can make your Mac emulate, say, computers in science fiction movies and such, the things that they say. Or just add things that will grab your attention or maybe show off your own sense of humor in the phrases that this feature uses. You can set a delay, so how long it takes for the phrase to be spoken. So maybe a notification shows up and only if you don't do anything for 5 seconds will it be spoken. Otherwise, if you dismiss it, then it will never speak. So to enable this, make sure you have the check mark turned on. So as an example here, I've got a reminder set to give me a notification here very shortly.
Alert from reminders.
Now let me change it to one of these and reset the time on this.
Alert.
Now next we have Speak Selection. So you've got the keyboard shortcut Option Escape. That's what you use to trigger this. But how it works depends on these settings. You can have it highlight the content as it's spoken. You can either highlight words, sentences, or words and sentences. So if I select both of those, then I can set a color for each. So word color can be blue and maybe I'll use yellow for the sentence color. And then the sentence can be either underlined or have a background color. Let's stick with underline. Then there's a controller that can appear. We can have it appear automatically when we use this feature or never or always. So it's just there all the time. So that's a way to trigger this without using Option Escape. Let's have it do automatically. So let's turn this on and let's go to another app like Pages where we can select some text. And let's try this out. I'm going to use Option Escape to activate it.
Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister.
Notice how all of the text here is underlined. It's just one long sentence and then the word being spoken is highlighted. I can pause. I could play. I could stop it right there to turn it off. You can use the turtle icon here to slow things down and the rabbit to speed things up. I find how well the highlighting works really depends on the app you're using. If you're doing it on a web page where there's a lot of design behind the text, then you'll find that it doesn't always grab the whole word. But it's close enough just to give you an idea of where it's at. Next we have Speak Items under Pointer. So if you turn this on,
Speak items under the pointer. Checked.
Anytime you move your pointer over something, it's going to give you a rundown of what it is.
Options.
Now if you go into the buttons here, you can have it speak items under the pointer always or only when using the zoom feature. You can have speech verbosity set to low.
Low.
And it's just going to say things like that. Whereas if you go to high,
Hi. Pop-up button.
It'll describe more of what's there. And it has a delay. If you set it really low, it's going to speak everything as you move the pointer around the screen. If you move it up a little bit like it is here, then it will wait until you stop the pointer at a certain spot before it starts speaking. Speak typing feedback works when you're actually typing in an app. It could be in Pages, it could be in Mail, it could be in a form in Safari, just about anywhere. The options here are either to echo the characters, so every time you press a key on the keyboard, only speak a word when you're done typing the word, echo selection changes, so that's when you use the keys on your keyboard to select text, and then echo when you're using modifier keys. So let's have it echo words. I'll turn this on and let's switch to Pages again and then watch as I type. Doesn't do anything yet, but as soon as I hit space,
This
it will speak the word.
is a test.
I can see this being useful to some people to be able to hear the words they're typing spoken back to them. Also, it could be useful to hear when you're using the modifier keys.
Control, Option, Command, Shift.
Of course, all of these echoing features become very important if you're not able to see what it is that you're typing. But even if you can see, having spoken announcements is a little bit better than having just a sound. Being able to select some text and have it read to you while you do something else is very useful. And having the words you type being echoed to you can be seen as a useful writing tool. So whether or not you need these functions, I encourage you to go into System Preferences, Accessibility, Spoken Content, and try these out to see which ones could be useful to you. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.